Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how I made this hoodie. It was inspired by Captain Catherine Janeway from the Star Trek Voyager series. So let's get sewing. So I used 3 different colors of fabric for this hoodie, a gray one, a red one, and a black one. Now the first thing we're going to do is create our template or pattern for the hoodie. Then we're going to use the template to cut the fabric and finally sew everything together. So for your template, you can use any existing hoodie. I am just using this t-shirt hoodie, but I'd like my Star Trek hoodie to be slightly more baggy, so I'm going to add extra space at the bottom as well as on the sides. And when you're outlining your sleeve line, just make sure you lift your sleeve and flip it over like so. And do the same thing for your neckline with the hood. Now when you're done, this is what your template might look like at this point. Make sure you're using 2 layers of paper because we're going to use one for the front and one for the back. And before you cut your template, just make sure to add your seam allowance. I added about 1.5 centimeters. And once I have my template, I'm also going to add a straight line about halfway down the sleeve line, because the top portion of my hoodie is going to be red and the bottom portion is going to be black, and I'll need separate templates for the different colored fabrics. Now here I'm just doing the same thing for the hood and for the sleeves. Now, because my sleeves are slightly short on this hoodie that I'm using, I'm just going to elongate it and add a bit more sleeve length at the bottom. And don't forget to add your seam allowance to your hood as well as your sleeves. And now we can start cutting our fabric. So I'm going to take the black fabric first, fold it in half, and make sure your fold line is aligned with the center line of your template for the front and the back. And when you're cutting your fabric, don't forget to add your seam allowance at the top. It was about 1.5 centimeters because we separated our template, but when we combine the fabric pieces together, we'll need the allowance. And of course, we are going to repeat the same process for the back. Okay, so we're moving on to the red fabric, and the process is exactly the same. You put your template on a folded fabric. Make sure that your fold line is aligned with the center line of your template for both the front and the back. And adding that 1.5 centimeter allowance. So we'll have one for the front and another one for the back. Here, as you can see, I'm doing the exact same process for the hood and for the sleeves. For the sleeves, make sure you are using the same folded fabric, and you'll need 2 pieces so that when you unfold it, it looks like that. And for the hood, you'll need 4 pieces. Okay, so now we can start sewing. I'm going to take one set of the black fabric and the red fabric, face them together right side to right side like so, and we'll do the same thing for the other set and sew right there with 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. Next, we'll be combining the front piece to the back piece at the shoulder lines. Make sure your fabric is facing right side to right side and you're using 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. Okay, moving on to the next part. This might be a little bit tricky, but it will be worth it, I promise. It looks very, very good. The goal here is to basically extend the red piece so that we get a triangular looking shape at the top of our sleeves. And I think it would be easier to just show you how I did it rather than explain it. But I just measured the side of the red piece. It was about 8.5 centimeters for me. And I grabbed 2 pieces of red fabric. It doesn't really matter what shape they are. I have one triangular, one square. I took the fabric, folded it in half, and my goal was to create half of a triangle with a right angle at the end, and measuring about 8.5 centimeters, which is the same as the side of my red piece, so that when I laid it on top of our sleeve, it looked something like that. Then I took the main piece of the hoodie, laid it down flat, and put small triangular red fabric on top. Then I turned it around and pinned both pieces together. So that it was sticking out and creating the triangular shape that we wanted. And to combine it with our sleeve, you just want to lay all 3 flat with the right size facing up and just flip over the sleeve so that you have your small red triangle piece in between your sleeve and the main piece. Then I pinned it all around and sewed it with 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. Basically, you want the top of your sleeve to meet the armhole of your main piece. And this is what it looks like when you're done. Now I'm also securing that triangular red fabric onto the sleeve so that it doesn't flap open. And before we move on to the hood, I'm going to close up our sleeves as well as the sides of our main piece. And moving on to the hood, we're going to take 2 pieces and lay it down flat, right side to right side. We're also going to do the same thing with the other set and sew it all around the curve with 1.5 centimeter allowance. And now we have 2 sets, inner layer of the hood and the outer layer of the hood. Combine the 2 and sew it just at the front. There you go. And you just want to turn it right side out again and we have our hood. And then we're going to take our hood and just secure it onto our neckline. I'm just going to pin it first because it makes it easier to sew. So basically the bottom of your hood is meeting the neckline of our main piece. And that's what it looks like when you're done. Now, there's one more thing that we have to do. Just turn the hoodie around and you'll see that there's some space left between the sides of the hood. And you just want to cut a line down, like straight down, so that you can create a V shape. And feel free to sew the flaps down like I did here. And then you just take a piece of gray fabric that's the same color as your hood, fold it in half and put it right behind the V and secure it on again. And there you go. We are all done. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!